Oi, oi, alright, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you. This is the Doodle Review coming through with a new album to give a spin, chat some fraff about, and assign an arbitrary score to. Today we're talking about an album that we have little to absolutely no information on. The album is credited to an artist or group called Virginia and is called Black Yacht Rock Volume 1 City of Limitless Access. The link to the record was quietly posted by none other than Pharrell Williams a few weeks ago. The vocals are unmistakably his work, the same enigmatic artist that's one half of the Neptunes, frontman of NERD and driving force of dozens of other creative projects over the years. So we can pretty safely assume this is a new Pharrell project, but other than that, we really don't know anything. The album's not even on Spotify. You can stream it on its own website or download the files, but you'll be hard pressed to find it anywhere else, at least at the time of recording this. In lieu of any real details then, it's helpful that the album title is so descriptive. In fact, I'd go so far as to say the album should just be called City of Limitless Access, and Black Yacht Rock should just be the genre label, because if you wanted to classify these 10 tracks, that's pretty much spot on. The record is a fantastic fusion of easy breezy, lightweight jazz rock a la Steely Dan, America, Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, with the deep R&B hip-hop grooves that Pharrell has built his career on. It doesn't completely feel like a throwback either. One of the most interesting things about Virginia, Black Yacht Rock, or City of Limitless Access, whatever we're calling this thing, one of the most interesting things is how it frames this potentially quite retro style in a modern context. Tracks like Dandelion would feel comfortable within that whole Tame Impala, Lil Yachty, Let's Start Here vibe, and a few times across the record Pharrell chucks in auto-tune ad-libs that absolutely tip the hat to Travis Scott. I suppose more than this record necessarily sounding modern, it's more just another example that modern music right now is really taking huge inspiration from the warm psychedelic sound of the 70s, whether it's Beyonce taking a country angle on that with Cowboy Carter, or even Dua Lipa's just released Radical Optimism, an album that definitely reaches back to the era of analog disco and funk. Personally, I'm loving it. Even from a production standpoint, things are starting to sound a little less perfect, a little less cold and digital, and I think that's great. I'd be really interested to know how Pharrell approaches songwriting for sure, but if I had to guess, based on a few tracks here, I reckon the vocal melody is often where things begin. This is quite interesting because in some instances it can sometimes feel like the song lacks a bit of direction. At least at first. 1111, for instance, just sounds like someone kind of singing to themselves with how meandering it is, but then in the subsequent sections he just switches into hook after hook after hook. In this case, the syncopated "I keep falling on down that hole, one that I can't control." It's a really cool technique that I think keeps you as a listener engaged, because you can't always tell what's coming next. Same with Caged Bird 3. This one has a Daft Punk Random Access Memories vocoder driven progression, but it ends the sequence on a really weird chord that you would not expect. It almost sounds off, but it's not. Again, it's just an example of how Pharrell's approach to writing allows him to kind of stumble on really unique combinations, and his innate and acute sense of what melodically works allows him to kind of wrap this in a song that you can't help but enjoy. I will say that the summery yacht rock context occasionally takes this record into some pretty twee directions that I'm not always in the mood for. Just for Fun has a cool blues funk riff that evokes Prince or even Janet Jackson, but somehow the track takes this fairly gritty riff into a bit of a happy-go-lucky nursery rhyme type vibe. Same with opener Richard Mill with the "Did somebody order a pizza, hands up part." It's a little CBBS. More often than not though, the musicality brings me back on side. The track Ball being probably the best example of this. The song has a beautiful melody through its verse and pre-chorus, but then in the chorus the song just takes flight with these thick harmonized vocals and pizzicato string runs rising as a counter melody to those descending vocals. It's pure pop bliss. The only critique on this one is they use these big orchestral drums to kind of usher in this section, and I just think they could be louder in the mix to really underline the grandeur of the piece. Lyrically, under the summery sheen, the album includes moments of pretty raw honesty from Pharrell. 1111 is a pretty sad track that sees the artist reckon with a close friend's suicide and whether he should have seen the signs, and Cheryl seems to describe the emotional fallout of having an open marriage. The track Ball, I just mentioned, quite creatively uses a baseball metaphor to describe heartbreak, and that's pretty good too. Overall, this is a really unique collection of tracks. That's biggest issue is that more people probably won't hear it. I'm going to give it a 7.2 and knock this review on the head. That's what I think. What are you lot saying? Make it known in the comments, and check out some other relevant reviews linked in the description below. Subscribe, share some thoughts, show some love, or just, have some abuse in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, mate. Bye.